This is probably not the kind of jam you'd expect at the beginning of a video about Phonolyth's epic and experimental reverb and diffusion processor, Cascade. But I wanted to show that it's usable for interesting and creative short-tail reverbs. You were probably expecting something more long-tail, creative, spacious, eerie, dystopian, cyberpunk, bleak future prophecy movie like this. Welcome to Jamie TV and thank you very much for tuning in. Cascade is a fascinating and exciting reverb. It's available as a plugin for Mac and for Windows and as an AUV3 for iPad and iPhone. But there are a lot of fascinating reverbs out there, so what's so good about this one? Well, let me show you it on my desktop. I'll show you how it works and give you an idea what it sounds like, and then you can make an informed decision as to whether it might be for you. It is. Hippie promise. I like to learn new reverbs with a simple sound, just basic chords and not too many notes playing so I can really hear what's happening. I really like this sound in Piano Tech 8, but let's take off the effects and make it nice and plain so you know that all the effects are coming from Cascade. Cascade's interface is completely resizable, so let's make it nice and big for the demo. We'll switch it on, and this is the default preset, Animated Atmosphere. With this button we can toggle between night and day modes. And when this button is activated, when you hover over a control down at the bottom here, you'll see some information about what that control does. I would typically use a reverb as a send effect, but for this demo I'm using it as an insert so that I can demo the dry-wet mix. We can lock the dry-wet mix into position here and then toggle through presets without it changing. The width control, set at 100%, will preserve the stereo image coming into the reverb. Set to 0 with a double click will sum down to mono, and dragging this to -100 will reverse the stereo picture. High cut can be used to trim high frequencies from the reverb tail, and likewise low cut will reduce the low frequencies, something every serious reverb should have, as too much low end going into reverbs is one of the main causes of muddy mixes. There are 24 all-pass diffusion stages available. More stages means more diffusion, more density, and potentially longer decay. Each stage adds more blur, a more phased sound. The shape control can be used to alter the forward gain of the diffusion. The more distance, the longer the delay before that repeat, and spread controls the spacing between successive diffusion stages. Clicking this button will make these two controls adjust relatively to each other. Notice the graphic at the bottom, giving you a visual representation of the changes I'm making. Stereo adjusts the offset between left and right channels. The higher up you set the inertia control, the longer it takes for manual or automated changes to settle in. Now I'm going back to the shape control. Notice how, as I bring this control up, we're passing through a field of reverse reverb shaping possibilities. But around here is where we will find those lush, atmospheric, long delays. The more feedback, the longer the decay. This button will flip the polarity with every pass through the feedback loop. And this button switches the left and right channels of the feedback loop. We can set the feedback loop to infinite here. This option is still allowing new signal into the loop, so you'll hear it build and build. Be careful with this. The freeze button sets feedback to 100%, but stops accepting incoming signal, so effectively it has now created a blanket reverb backdrop, but isn't affecting the piano sound at all. So if I press stop, pre-delay can be used to delay sending the input signal through the diffusion cascade, and this delay button determines how long a delay we have before looping the output of the diffusion cascade back into its input. Again, this button will make these two controls move relatively, and this button will change our delay time options to subdivisions of the host tempo, in this case Cubase 12 Pro. We can add some motion to the sound by adding modulation here, and if I increase the depth control, you'll hear the modulation is creating more drastic changes in pitch. The dampening controls in this software are second to none. The more I pull down this low control, the more we dampen the low frequencies, allowing the low register of the instrument to shine through. We can also adjust these parameters by clicking and dragging in the graphic, including these parameters here for where we cross over between low and mid and high dampening frequencies. And finally, you may wonder, why would the output of a reverb need a gain control? But this software opens up so many creative possibilities. You may, for instance, create a chorus type effect, and the gain could help you blend this into your original signal. There you have it. It's absolutely epic. 100% suckless. Totally suck free. Thank you very much for watching. Please stay tuned to the end of the video, where I'm going to play out with some of the sounds that I've made with Cascade. And all the presets that I've made for Cascade will be available at my Patreon account, where I regularly give away software willy-nilly and help my patrons with their music making requirements. Sign up, you know you want to. If you'd like to help out the channel by joining my Patreon or any other way, all the usual boring YouTuber links are down below the video. Thank you very much for watching. Take care of yourselves, be good people, be kind, make lots of music, and try not to piss your pants about. See you later.